Good evening. So yesterday, I spoke on the occult. But there were things that were left out. And so now I have a story for you. The truth, if you will. Something so fucking blasphemous and against the natural order of things that I sat down and cried almost the entire day. Some days, I have thoughts. They're a little strange, manageable. I see where they fit in. And some days, I have ideas and philosophies that hurt so much that I weep for what's been done to the world. And I see a pattern, clear as day. And I see the why and the how now. I think I understand what was done. And I'm going to share it with you. It's going to be hard to hear. This is a declaration of war, as it were. I want to tell you the story of Jesus, and not the short, abbreviated version that they give you in a Bible that was written by a man that's actually how to perform the blood ritual to keep Jesus Christ himself fucking anchored in this world. So the resurrection couldn't happen. What you think of the resurrection is not the real resurrection at all. And there's some clues that you need to look at, examine yourself, and see what you think. But I'm simply going to speak to you. Your judgment means nothing to this story. They say after 3 days, Jesus was resurrected. That's how the church learned how long it took for Jesus to come back to life every time he died. They say he went to heaven and rose to the stars. What they don't say is they put him in chains. What they don't say is they understood his power and decided to control it. And oh, he was the Son of God. They nailed him to a fucking cross. There is nothing but free will here. But there's two ways to do everything. For everything, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And unlike the way where you control with blood, he controlled with spirit. The harder, less traveled path. The yin to the yang of the fucking negativity and hate in this world. And so they put him in a dungeon. And they tortured him and they killed him a bunch of times. They bled him out and they drank his blood. And when he died, they brought him back again. Jesus couldn't die because he'd reached immortality stage. He'd gone all the way into alignment with spirit. And they feared the end of their rule. So Jesus Christ was tortured. Day after day, month after month, year after year. They got pieces off of him and claimed they were saints. They drank his blood. He said, look at us. We understand God. And still it continued. And then they started to get creative and use rituals and bind demons that they created with his blood. And they made other versions of God in the world. and they rejoiced at their creations. And then finally, they fucked up and he died. He died because they cut him into so many pieces. There was nothing for his spirit to anchor to, but his spirit was stuck here. It was on a purpose. It had a fucking mission. And in this quasi state, knowing of the star and the astronomical signs and the math, they waited. And he appeared again, but not where he was last time. And they followed him. And they followed him all the way across the world and back. Your Prophet Muhammad, the church got him. Jesus Christ never died. And every time he found a new host, they fucking bled him out again. And then they gained new knowledge. And they advanced their sciences. And they advanced their creations. And again the Savior was drained. But he wouldn't give up. Not for any reason. Because the love was a universal code. And so instead of waiting anymore for a prophet to arise in the east, for a savior in the west, for a mystic in the south, for a pathfinder in the north, they started to build computers not to help us to find Jesus again. The technology, the ideas, the concepts, the laws, the thought processes, the way the church spoke, all of it was to make Jesus perfectly apparent and stand out in the world so he could be found again and bled again and killed again. Sometimes they keep him alive for hundreds of years. And every time, Jesus did not fight back. Every time, consciously knowing what they were going to do to him again, he still went out and he still preached and he did the best that he could to just be love. And they found him and they tortured him and they bled him out again. And on and on and on it went. Until science got to the point where they could take Jesus, the current Jesus, known by his blood, that they could actually take his blood and try to clone him. Only these clones weren't good. These clones didn't work the same. But the blood still kind of worked. And so became a game of how much of Jesus do we really need in a body? How diluted can we get his blood in the vessel and it still be potent enough for us to work our magic and to work our control? And they perfected this science. They perfected this science down to an art. It only took a simple manifestation of somebody affecting people positively in any way for any sustained amount of time before, without them knowing, their blood was checked so they could know if this was the next one, and then poof, that person was gone. But Jesus never gave up. Never once. He never quit loving humanity. He never quit loving this world. And he never gave up and forgave the very people that bled him out year after year and century after century. They never stopped. And all the people that pray to Jesus, you're praying to the ritual that keeps the spirit bound. You can tell me I'm wrong if you'd like, but I know I'm right. The thing is, it's not even about what's come before. Not at all. It does not matter about the hate and the pain in the world, not one fucking ounce. Not at all. But it poses an interesting philosophical question. It's rather hard to. Excuse me. I apologize. This is a really hard story to even think of. It was a really hard thought process to get through. I had to really sit with this before I spoke on it, and I didn't really want to, but it's on my fucking heart too, and I'll fight anybody who wants to fucking argue about it. You show me how the pattern doesn't perfectly prove my fucking point. You show me where I'm wrong. I know better. But the thing is it's not about any of that. It's about this story being real. And not just real, but don't you think eventually Jesus will get pretty smart about it? Don't you think eventually Jesus will just be like, all right, fuck it, reset, right? Why hasn't judgment come? Why haven't the fucking angels ranked their fucking horns? If Jesus was the person to let God know what was going on here, and he hasn't been able to consciously reconnect, how would God know that there's anything wrong on this end? I pose that question to you. But through this terrible fucking hurt I feel in my heart at the very idea that this is fucking truth, I saw the silver lining. I saw the silver lining in a way that I think probably I need to share with you. What would you do to help Jesus? If Jesus was alive right now, what would you do? If he showed up at your door, would you turn him in? Would you give him shelter from the storm? Would you listen to his words and follow him? Would you even give a fuck? How do you feel about the fact that Jesus might think like that? That he might think that nobody gives a fuck about him. There's nobody standing up for truth anymore in the world. There's nobody standing up for the fucking poor people and the people that are being bullied and the people being taken advantage of and the children being hurt and fucking killed. What if the only reason that Jesus ain't showed up is because he doesn't think anybody wants him to anymore? What if Jesus is just some fucking homeless guy out there wishing somebody would just give him a fucking hug? What if? So my question for you, and the whole point of this video, is you should probably completely disregard what I just said unless somewhere in your heart you just fucking felt something break like I did when I thought about this. And then you got to figure out if this is real and God is real and Jesus is real and there's a whole bunch of fucking bad people doing bad fucking things in the name of God. What the fuck are you going to do about it? If you had the opportunity to be part, you like that? Gotta have some humor, right? Be part of the change itself. To actually fix the fucking world. Are there 10 righteous men left? And when I thought about this, when I thought that maybe Jesus just didn't show up no more because there ain't even 10 fucking people left in the world that really believe in the real fucking God, I got mad. It broke my fucking heart to think that probably the very person that could exist in a way to guide other people would never be listened to. Then his love will be taken as kindness and weakness, and he'd be used and drained and discarded time and again through the cycle of time itself. As technology is advanced, who's to say there aren't all kinds of clones of Jesus running around the fucking world being used like power grids? If someone doesn't know themselves, they're easily controllable. It's how all the occultists do their magic. Is you're dumb enough to do what they say, and you give them control of your life, and by doing that they become stronger. And this is true. That's what politics is. That's what having enough money is. You can control anybody if they desire money. It's the biggest form of magic in the world, period. How much money does it take to get you to fucking conform, to be less than you are? What's the dollar number you need to kill somebody? How much to sell your body? How much to say that one thing you know is a lie, but it ain't a big deal, so you just say it anyway? You have a price, don't you? And then I thought about how much Jesus has paid in the last 2,000 fucking years. I thought about it. Jesus isn't in your heart. Jesus is on this world right now. Jesus was telling you to pray to yourself because inside you is the conduit to God, to where you yourself can speak to God, and all you have to do is get right with God to speak to God, and that's all it takes. It was very simple. And instead, the powers that be realized that Jesus Christ himself was the fucking answer to control itself. Nothing else has worked. Nothing. All those wars, a lot of them are just snatching the current version of Jesus. And there's no unsaying what I've said now. Cat's out of the bag. You can eat a fucking dick, church. Because I know what I'd do. Jesus showed up at my door, I'd help him. Anything he wanted. No fucks given. Already know he paid more than I ever fucking could, and I'm down for the adventure. That was the conclusion I reached with this really hard fucking thought that makes perfect fucking sense for every goddamn thing that's wrong in this fucking world right now. You thought you could control the conduit to God. And you lost track of him. And that's why the world's changing. You lost control of Jesus. That's the secret you don't want us to know. Jesus is fucking loose again. That's why you're freaking out. It's all coming to a fucking end. And that gives me great fucking joy because I'm going to get to witness that shit. I've quite the imagination, don't I? I really appreciate you taking the time to listen.